Have you ever heard of Harriet Doerr? I had not until just this morning when I found this woman on the genetic matrix celebrity chart. And so I'd just like to dive into the secrets of her body graph to share with you a little bit about what life was like for this writer in America from, what was that? She was born 1910, the 8th of April. And so if we look at the chart for this woman, we see an emotional manifesting generator. Now this is a powerhouse of design. The emotional manifesting generator has massive impact on the world around it and the people around it. The solar plexus is the home of all emotions, and it's actually where in the past we've been driven and pushed around by ignorance because it was unaware of itself. I'm speaking about the sacral center here, which is this woman's inner authority. And so the sacral center is very, very profound and powerful. As I mentioned, up until now in our history, it has operated as a motor pushing us around. However, being that we are alive right now, we are in the middle of the shift from one age to another. And the solar plexus is actually gaining awareness. We are gaining self-awareness over our extrasensory perception, over our auric expanse into space and time. For you see, with someone like this, with an emotional inner authority, with definition from the emotional center, it is incredibly important to not be spontaneous. It is important to make decisions over time, because for the emotional inner authority, truth is never available in the now. I happen to be an emotional inner authority myself. And so it means my emotions are always clouding me from the truth, up, down, left, right, whatever. In the moment, I only have relative clarity, but a whole lot of depth. You see, these emotional people, we go through highs and lows, and there's no way to stop it. That's just life, and it's quite okay. You see, for the people around this person, they have to be around this emotional force. And if there's an undefined emotional center, with an undefined emotional center, they are amplifying the emotions other people give them with their mind, most likely because they're identified with their mind. And then they could reflect that back at the emotional person. Maybe they're upset, maybe they're happy, whatever it is. Emotional people have to deal with their wave coming back at them, the consequences of their actions. And this woman is no exception. You see, if I look into the very middle of the body graph, we see the G center, the self center. This is actually the center that determines our orientation in life. This energy center in the very center, the diamond, the self, the center of gravity itself. For you see, the magnetic monopole, which is something modern science has yet to even discover exists, is actually the source of gravity. Not only that, the magnetic monopole holds us together in our illusion of separateness, and it moves us along our line of geometry. That's the magnetic monopole. Now in this woman's G center, we have an undefined center. It is wide open. I'm seeing 3, 4 different potential activations that could really flip it on, because we have an 8 above, a 51 to the right, a 14 below, and a 57 to the left. All of these things and more could activate her sense of direction, mentally amplifying that, pushing off into whatever way. For you see, this vehicle, this woman, Harriet, she had no consistent behavior. She had no consistent direction in life whatsoever. Not only that, but the way she thought was completely inconsistent. The way her mind conceptualized things There's no consistency whatsoever except for a certain aspect of inspiration. She had her own conscious and unconscious connection to the mysteries of life. And we can see that in gate 61 up in the crown center, up in the very top. That's what actually gives us mental inspiration and mental conceptualization pressure to create those thoughts. But in the mind, it's wide open. In the crown, it's not exactly wide open, but it's undefined. And last, looking at that heart for the undefined centers, I'll just go over these undefined and see how that plays into her role in life. You know, she was a writer. She didn't write her first book until, what was that, 78? 74. She wrote her first book, and people loved it. You know what? Because she's an emotional manifester, and she took her time. Eventually, one day, she's 70 years old, older, and she discovers she's a writer. She likes to write, and she becomes critically acclaimed for that. And this is because those 4 open centers, the sense of direction in life, the G center, the conceptualization of the mind, and the pressure from the crown to create concepts, combined with the last, but certainly not least, the heart center. Now see, the heart center is where self-worth comes from, or not. In Harriet's life, she only had a consistent relationship to the shocking things in life, to what is, that's at gate 51. And so I imagine she was able to shock other people with her wisdom about the direction in life people take and how some directions are more valuable than others. So if you've been enjoying this, feel free to reach out anytime. I can look at anyone's body graph. This is just a chart, and it's based off birth information. So I can pull apart secrets from your genetic code and help you accept life a little bit more. So if that's interesting to you, feel free to reach out. Also, one last thing, I am actually in the Orange County, California area. So if you're anywhere around here, consider coming to the San Juan Capistrano Community Center, where I will be leading healing breath work, just to introduce people to the most fundamental teaching. For me, it's the breath, one at a time. Peace.